Today on Stock Charts in Focus, we're loading up your screens with multiple charts on a single page all at once. Specifically, we're going to take 6 of the major averages, put those all on a single chart, allow you to watch the markets in different corners all on one screen. This is a trick that I personally use every day and every week, and we're going to show you exactly how to do it. We're going to do this in SharpCharts. We're going to do this in ACP, and once we jump over to ACP, we're actually going to show you how to use the multi-chart layouts feature as well to do this in a couple of different ways. Very cool stuff, very handy, especially for a market like we have here today. You know what it is. It's all new. It's all here. It's Stock Charts in Focus. All right, my friends, welcome to the show, Stock Charts in Focus. Of course, our product focus show here on the channel where we dig into the site, dive into the features, show you around the tools, and ultimately help you get more value out of Stock Charts. That is our mission here every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, up on our live channel, but also up on our YouTube channel after that. And, of course, the on-demand platform at StockChartsTV.com. Lots of different ways to watch. My name is Grayson Rose, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com. So good to be with you. You know, in the opening of this show every week, we talk about getting more value out of stock charts. We talk about looking at the different tools and the features, and we are going to do exactly that today. This is actually based on a show that we did a long time ago about how to do some multi-chart views around stock charts in both SharpCharts and in ACP. We're revisiting this because this is actually something that I find myself using a ton, again, in both platforms, and especially in a market like we have here today with heightened volatility. We got markets running up against prior support and resistance levels and moving averages all over the place. We got so much happening across the indexes. We want to be able to watch all of that action, but we don't want to have to flip through dozens and dozens of charts and find things in different lists and all that stuff. With a couple of tips and tricks, you can actually set up multiple symbols on one screen. You can do this in SharpCharts, you can do this in ACP, and we are going to show you how on today's show. Very cool stuff. You're going to get a lot out of this. And again, this is kind of based on something that I actually use. This is kind of part of my process, as we like to do with this show. We actually get to reach into my own toolkit and show you things that I use around stock charts. We're going to have a lot of fun. Now, before we do that, I want to remind everyone, ChartCon signups are open. If you're not familiar with what ChartCon is, this is an event that we have been doing since 2011, a very popular event among Stock Charts users. It is our big conference that we do every couple of years. We actually haven't done this since 2018. The pandemic there in 2020 kind of got in our way, but it is a virtual conference these days. We've been doing that actually since 2016. Kind of wild to think back and think, wow, we were sort of ahead of the times doing these virtual conferences. But we've got an incredible list of speakers, Larry Williams and Linda Raschke kind of headlining things as well, but so many incredible speakers, Martin Pring, Greg Schnell, Aaron Swenlin, Dave Keller and I are going to be hosting the whole event. We've got a ton of just very exciting stuff happening with this year's ChartCon. It's going to be streaming virtually in October, and the signups are open right now. So you can go to StockCharts.com/ChartCon, ChartCon, kind of like Comic-Con, but for charts. Go to StockCharts.com/ChartCon, learn more about the conference, see some of the videos, see the lineup, hear kind of what we're doing with this event, and you can register now. The exciting thing is that Stock Charts members get a very special discount. So if you're an existing Stock Charts member, you can sign up, get that discounted rate. If you're not a Stock Charts member, by the way, you can sign up for a free trial. You'll actually get that special price. Don't tell anyone I told you. I'm kind of, letting the cat out of the bag there. But if you're not a Stock Charts member, this is a great reason to sign up, a great time to sign up, and you'll get to take advantage of some of the tools that we're going to show off on today's show. So lots of different reasons to sign up. Anyways, StockCharts.com/ChartCon. Definitely go there, learn more about the conference. It's happening in October. We'll be talking more about that as we get a little bit closer to the event. But that sign-up page is available now. You can sign up for the conference and save your seat. So get excited. It's coming in October. 2 days worth of a very timely, very exciting, very timeless as well market content from a whole list of experts. Exciting stuff. So with that out of the way, let's jump over to the site. All right, everyone. So here we are on SharpCharts. This is going to be our starting place for today. And what we're going to do is we're going to build a multi-chart view with 6 indexes that I like to follow. Now, the interesting thing about the indexes that we're going to follow is they're actually all ETFs. Instead of being the traditional kind of $ symbol ETFs or indexes like $SPX or $INDU, we're going to follow the markets through 6 different ETFs that, again, track all these different corners of the markets: large caps, mid caps, small caps, a blend of everything. You are going to see it in this one screen. Again, this is kind of from my toolkit. This is actually building up a charting view that I like to use in my own personal process. And the reason that I like to use this combination of 6 different ETFs is that they're ETFs. They're actually things that I can go out and buy. If I'm looking at it and I'm saying, hey, IWM, the Russell 2000, this is looking really strong. I like what I'm seeing here. I like what I'm seeing out of this index. I can actually just go buy it, as opposed to seeing the sort of traditional index and then having to go find the ETF and see how that's doing. So I personally like to track these ETFs. I also like to benchmark a lot of things against one of these ETFs in particular, which is VTI. That's the Vanguard Total Index. So when I think about relative strength, I want to compare things to something that I can actually own. In that case, it's VTI, which tracks the total US stock market. So a little bit of background about kind of what we're building up and why we're picking these. But the 6 different ETFs that we're going to use, and we're going to build these all up on one screen on one chart. We're going to do VTI, which is the total US stock market. We're going to use SPY, which is the S&P 500. We're going to use MDY, which is the S&P 400, a mid-cap index. SLY is the S&P 600. That is a small cap index. And then we're going to use 2 Russell indexes, IWB and IWM. That's the Russell 1000, which is a large cap and a little bit of mid cap in there as well, index. And then we're also going to use IWM, the Russell 2000, which is a sort of classic small cap index. So we're going to build all those up on one screen. You are going to see them all in one place. So the way that we're going to do this here in SharpCharts is we're going to scroll down. We're starting with a very, very stripped out chart, by the way, just some candlesticks going back over a year. We're going to put our first symbol up top, just like any other chart that you create on StockCharts. So we're just going to type in VTI. In this case, you can see, again, we're just using a very, very stripped out chart, just 1 year, no indicators, no overlays, nothing like that. We're going to keep this view nice and clean. From there, we're going to scroll down to the bottom to the settings panel of the SharpCharts workbench here. And we're actually going to select the price indicator. You can actually see that I've kind of started to set this up for us. I've selected that price indicator already. The price indicator is how we add another symbol to a SharpChart. Now you could use this with a ratio symbol like $symbol : VTI. That's how you create one of those relative ratios actually. You might have seen that on the show as we've been going through some of my charts and things in the past. But you can also use this with any symbol under the sun that you want to put on one of your charts. So that's what we're going to do today. As you can see, we've already got VTI up at the top. Now that tracks the total US market. So we're going to leave that as the primary chart up top. But then in this parameters box, after we've selected our price indicator, we're going to go ahead and type in our next symbol. That is going to be SPY. We're going to leave that position as below, and we're going to set our style here as candlestick so that it matches the chart that we have up top. We'll leave our color as auto, and one other thing that we're going to do that's going to be very cool is we're going to set this actually with a height of 1.0. So the height setting basically says how tall do you want this indicator panel to be relative to the primary price panel. So our primary price panel is here, and if we set something like our price indicator down below with a height of 1.0, it means that the height of that SPY chart that we're going to add is going to be the exact same as this VTI chart. So it basically means they're going to be equal sized. So now we're going to hit update, and as you can see, we now have our next chart down below. Now I've got one other thing that's kind of interesting on my SharpCharts. I've turned the legends to verbose. The idea there is that you can actually see sort of the full name for some of these indicator legends. These do different things depending on the indicators and the overlays that you have on the screen, but in the case of one of these kind of multi-chart views, that means that we get the full symbol name instead of just the symbol. To give you a quick sense of how that looks, if I change this back to default, you can see that we actually now have just VTI and just SPY instead of the full name. So personally, I like to leave that on verbose, gives me kind of the full name right in there so I can see exactly what these are. So we've got our second chart there down below. One other little trick that we can do, you might notice that I have log scale turned on this chart. Now, over a short period, relatively short period, like a year, log scale isn't going to do too much for us. But I do want to make sure that our next charts use log scale as well. So to do that, down in this parameters box, all we're going to do is type in comma log. We're going to hit update, and that's actually going to keep this lower chart in log scale as well. So now, from there, to build up the rest of this multi-chart view, we're just going to do that a whole bunch more times. We're going to type in price. We're going to delete that $SPX, and we're going to type in our next symbol, which is MDY. That's going to be our mid-cap index. We'll type in MDY, comma, log. We're going to do the exact same thing. Candlesticks, auto color, and we're going to set that height as 1. When I hit update again, you'll see that we now have another chart down at the bottom of our screen. So what we now have is the total US stock market. We have the S&P 500, the large cap index, and we have the S&P 400, the mid cap index. We're going to just keep repeating this. So bear with me as we type in a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to type in SLY comma log, select candlesticks again. We're going to set our color as auto, and we are going to do a height of 1.0. Now, instead of hitting update another couple of times, I'm just going to keep typing in this box. Our next symbol up is going to be IWB. That is going to be the Russell 1000. We've got our comma log there, select candlesticks, auto color. We're going to hit 1.0 one more time. Now, for the final time, there we go, price indicator, we are going to type in IWM, comma, log. And we're going to do candlesticks here, auto color, and 1.0. So there we go. Now we've loaded up our other 5 symbols. We've got VTI, we've got large caps, mid caps, small caps, Russell 1000, Russell 2000, all on this chart. I'm going to hit update, and here we go. Now what we have created is one giant Sharp chart that has 6 different indexes, all of the same size, all using candlesticks, all using log scale, all in one place. A very, very nice handy view. This allows you to see everything on one screen without having to flip from list to list or chart to chart. You can just see it all in one place. So at a glance, we can see the total stock market up top. We can then scroll down to large caps. We can see large caps kind of getting above some key levels. We can see mid caps next up, already bouncing around some key levels, continuing that move higher. We can see small caps next up there with the S&P 600. And finally, we can scroll down to our Russell indexes. We've got the Russell 1000, which is kind of a large and mid cap blend. And we've got our famous small cap index, the Russell 2000, which actually looks quite weak now. It's really kind of struggling more than anything else almost. Anyways, we've got all of these charts on one screen in one place, which makes it incredibly easy to do this. We can simply scroll up and down to see multiple indexes. Now, you can do this with anything that you can think of. If you want to do this with specific indexes, you can do that. If you want to do this with the sector ETFs, you can do that. If you've got 2 symbols that you want to use this with, go for it. If you've got 10 symbols that you want to use this with, you can do that as well. You can load up your SharpCharts with multiple price data sets and do this exact same kind of thing, stacking these different charts. Now, the other cool thing is that if we go down to this overlay section, we could even start to add some overlays to these. We could add, for instance, a simple moving average. Here we go. We select simple moving average. It's going to default to 50. We can actually make that red, which is what I like to use personally. We can hit enter, and there we go. Now we actually have a 50-period moving average on that large cap index on SPY. Of course, we could also load up our different overlays, our different moving averages and things on that top chart as well, on the VTI chart. So you can really start to build out some pretty advanced views here on your different multi-chart views. Very, very cool stuff, and so nice to have that, again, all in one place. So that's it. We've done this in SharpCharts now. We are going to jump over to ACP. We're going to take a look at how to do the exact same thing over there, but we're going to add one twist. So let's jump over to ACP now and take a look. All right, everyone, so here we are now in ACP. Of course, this is our advanced charting platform, a new option that you now have available to you as well, in addition to SharpCharts. If you like that kind of more interactive experience, if you like that more fluid kind of dynamic charting look, then ACP might be for you. Also, you get kind of everything all in one platform. So you got your chart lists, you can run scans, you've got the market summary, you have got a ton. You can even create alerts on your charts in just a single click. There's a ton that you can do with ACP. We are going to be bringing more of those kinds of interactive experiences to SharpCharts as well. We've got some big plans for this year. But for now, ACP is kind of the king of interactivity on StockCharts.com, and we do some very cool things. As you're going to see, one of my favorites actually being the multi-chart layouts that we're going to show off in just a minute. So to start here in ACP, we're going to do a very similar thing. We've got our stripped out chart 1 year VTI here on the screen. And what we are going to do is build up kind of the same chart that we did in SharpCharts. This kind of multi-chart view you can actually do in two different ways here in ACP. First off, you can do it exactly the same as SharpCharts. So we're going to scroll down, we're going to find that price indicator. You can also search for it if that makes it easier for you, or if this is one that you use a lot, you can actually favorite that here in ACP and keep that in the list up top. So we're going to select price. When we do that, you'll see that you get another panel at the bottom of this screen. Very similar kind of concept, a little bit easier to use here with some different settings and customizations that you can make. But in that symbol input, we are simply going to type in SPY. We're going to do the exact same type of thing. We can choose our style here as well, just like we did with SharpCharts. So in this case, we're going to turn that into candlesticks, and we can set our up and down colors as well really easily. We can also do some cool things like setting the opacity of this. We can add overlays to it down below. So again, if we wanted to add something like a simple moving average or Bollinger Bands, anything that we want to do here for these other price panels, we can do very easily in ACP. Now, I'm going to leave the height of that panel alone for now, because as we go, we're going to sort of see how this works. ACP is a little bit different than SharpCharts, so you've got some options that I want to make sure you know about. Again, I also have the verbose option turned on for my ACP chart. So if you actually click into the main settings for the price panel as a whole, or the price chart as a whole, you'll see that down here in the legends area, I have also selected verbose. So you've got the same kind of ideas. If you want these to just be the minimal legends that say the symbol only, you can select that. Personally, again, I like to use those verbose legends. It gives me a little bit more info. So as you can see up in the top of the chart settings area, what we now have is our main VTI chart, but we also have another price panel with SPY. Now from there, we're just going to, again, repeat that a couple of times. We're going to type in MDY, and we're going to set that style to be candlesticks. There we've now got our mid-cap index at the bottom of this chart. We're going to close that down. We're going to hit it again. We're going to type in SLY, that's going to be our small cap index. We're going to select candlesticks as our type, and you can see that we're now loading up this screen with a whole bunch of charts. We're going to do that 2 more times, and then we'll start to talk about that one other setting that I mentioned. IWB is going to be our Russell 1000 index. We're going to set that up with candlesticks as well. And finally, we're going to hit price for one last time. And we're going to type in IWM. That's going to be our Russell 2000. We'll set that up with candlesticks, and there we go. So now, the way that ACP works by default is that we're going to basically scrunch all of the indicators that you add onto the screen so that you can see everything all in one place. That works really nicely if you've got 2 or maybe 3 indicators on the screen. But once you start loading up a chart with a whole bunch of different panels like we have here, we've got 6 different panels on the screen, it can get a little bit scrunchy as a non-technical term there. So what we've actually created in ACP is the option to let the chart scroll off the screen or not. If you like that look of everything kind of being all on the screen in one view, then you can keep this sort of default mode on. If you want the screen to be a little bit taller, you want that chart to be a little bit taller though, all you've got to do is come up to that little arrows icon, make sure that is turned off, And as you can now see, this chart is actually taller than the screen. I can now start to customize the height of these different panels. And to do that, all I've got to do is hover over these little black lines and set this chart up exactly the way that I want it. So it's probably best to do this from the bottom. We can drag this up a little bit, drag each one of these up. As you can see, I can start to now customize the heights of these different panels, and I can make those different indexes a little bit easier to see. Each one can get a little bit bigger, and we can kind of crunch things down. Now we can also change our range, and of course that's going to change the range of the entire chart. If we set this to be something like 6 months, it gets a little bit easier to see as well. And now once that kind of fit to window mode is actually turned off, we can see this chart a little bit better. Now, I will say, this doesn't work perfectly. It doesn't work as well as the SharpChart in the case of ACP. These charts still get a little bit crunchy because the ACP is basically having to decide how tall that screen should be. So the way around this, if this view isn't ideal for you, the way around this is that you can actually create multi-chart views in ACP very, very easily. So we're going to get back to neutral. We're going to get back to our starting place. We're going to start this again from scratch, load up our 6 indexes, but a little bit differently this time. All right, everyone. So we are back to square one. We've got our stripped out VTI chart. We're looking at 1 year of candlesticks, nothing on this chart. Now, instead of adding the next 5 indexes with additional price panels on this same chart, we're going to add those additional indexes as separate charts using what we call the multi-chart layout feature. 2 different ways to do this. If you want to add a single chart, you can hit the plus button. That's going to take the existing chart, duplicate it, and add 1 more chart to the screen. So we could hit that a couple of different times, and that would get us up to our 6 charts that we want to have. We can also type in a list of ticker symbols in this top box. That's also going to fill out that list of symbols. The final option is that we can come over here to the layouts panel, and we can select actually a number of charts that we want to see on the screen. We can specifically jump up to 6 or 8 or 10 or 12, any number of charts that you want to see up to 12. You can select that number, and then from there we'll actually give you different layouts that you can use in ACP here with that number of charts. So when you select 6, you actually have a whole bunch of different configurations, different ways to lay out those 6 charts on the screen. They could be even with sort of a vertical preference. They could be even with a horizontal preference. You could have 2 big ones and 4 small ones. You got a whole bunch of different options. So we present you with those different options right on the screen. Very, very easy to see, very, very easy to use. And all you've got to do is click on one to see it. If you want kind of that vertical orientation, you can click that one. If you like the horizontal orientation, you can click that one. You can see that you have a couple of different options for kind of how these work. Very, very nice, very, very easy. And the cool thing here is that all of these now are full featured charts. You can also expand any of these to blow it up to full screen and then shrink it back down when you want to move on to the next chart. So very, very cool what you can do with these multi-chart layouts. Now, to fill this in, we're actually going to use that trick that I mentioned before. We're going to type in VTI, SPY, MDY, separating everything with commas, SLY, IWB, and IWM. We're going to hit go, and there we go. You can see that we now have 6 charts on the screen. We have our same 6 indexes that we've been working with, and all of these are now full featured charts in a nice, easy to configure layout. Again, if you wanted to change this to be kind of more of that horizontal preference, if you like that look, you can do that. I personally like that kind of more vertically oriented look for this 6. So this is actually a view that I look at a ton just to kind of see all of those major indexes, again, all in one place. It's really, really nice to have these. The cool thing that you have available to you as well, you can come up here to the range menu, make sure that apply to all is checked, and then you can actually select a different range that you want to see, and it'll automatically be applied to all of the charts on the screen. So if we wanted to zoom this in to be a 3-month view, really, really easy to get there. You just make sure that apply to all checkbox is checked, and once you've got your 6 or 8 or 12 charts up on the screen, select your range. That'll automatically be applied to all of those different charts. One other really cool thing that you have available to you is the same kind of concept with your chart styles though. So if we wanted to take something like, let's say, a Bollinger Bands view, this is kind of a fun view. We've got a Bollinger Bands view that I have created. I can make sure that that apply to all checkbox at the top of the chart styles panel is checked. I can then scroll down, select any chart style from my account, and that'll automatically apply that chart style to everything on the screen. So this is actually a really nice way to load up multiple symbols all at once and then flip through different chart styles and kind of see those applied. If you're familiar with the candle glance concept from SharpCharts, that's actually kind of what you're doing here in ACP. And again, we're looking at 6 charts on the screen, but you could do this with up to 12. Again, each one of these can be expanded. You can blow this up. It is a full featured chart. So you can actually zoom through time, move things around. You could customize this chart. You could add any annotations. And then when you're done, you can just shrink it back down and you're back to your layout. Again, we can customize our range. So let's say we wanted these to all be year-to-date charts. There we go. We've got our Bollinger Bands view, all year-to-date charts for our 6 major averages. So very cool what you can do with these layouts. The sky is the limit. You can see actually you can save these different layouts to your account. We do have a whole bunch of different samples to kind of get you started. But once you're up and running with these layouts, you can actually save them to your account. Here are some of mine. You can save them either with symbols or without. So you can see actually down here, I've got this labeled 06 Major Index ETFs. Here is the 6-panel view that we created today. Again, this is kind of the look that I like to use. We've got our S&P indexes across the top, and then we've got VTI, the Russell 1000, and the Russell 2000 across the bottom. This is actually saved to my account. So anytime that I want to get back to here, let's say I've got a single chart up on the screen, and then I suddenly say, oh, I want to see what the major indexes are doing. It's really, really easy to get there. All I have to do is click on that saved layout and it pulls it right up for me. So really cool, and it's super easy to save these too. Once you create them, all you do is come over to that layouts panel, hit save layout, type in a name, hit save, you're off to the races. There you go. So that is our show for today, digging into something from my own personal toolkit, again, walking you through how I use some of these multi-chart features around the site in both SharpCharts and in ACP to track 6 different major indexes all at once. Again, we were using this today to look at a couple of different index ETFs that I like to follow. In my case, the total US stock market, VTI. We of course had the S&P 500 with SPY. We had the S&P 400, the mid cap index with MDY. S&P 600, the small cap index, SLY. And then we had our 2 famous Russell indexes, the Russell 1000 IWB and the Russell 2000 IWM. We put all those on the screen, had some fun taking a look at them. But again, this is a concept that you can extend to anything you can think of. If you've got a couple stocks from your portfolio, you want to put those all on one screen, this is how you do it. If you're comparing a couple of different ETF options, maybe you're looking at some different cybersecurity ETFs, you're trying to decide which one you really want, throw them all up on the screen, see them all together all at once, compare the price action, see how they're moving. Really, again, the sky is the limit for these different multi-chart views, whether you're using SharpCharts or ACP. In either case, you got a whole bunch of different options, lots of different ways to chart multiple symbols all at once on a single screen. Again, something that I use really every day, every week, a very, very cool view, especially being able to put those major indexes all on one page, see them all moving together, see what's working, see what's not, all on a single screen. Very, very cool, very efficient. That's what we like to do. I want to thank you again for joining me on the show today. Don't forget, sign up for ChartCon, StockCharts.com/ChartCon. Coming in October, we're going to have lots more info for you as we get a little bit closer to that great event. But some fantastic speakers, some amazing content that we have lined up. Just going to be a phenomenal event. I have been talking to the team about what they're planning, and it is so, so exciting. We haven't done this event since 2018. This is going to be, I think, our best event ever. I know I say that every time, but truly, I think what we've lined up with this time around, it's going to be a fantastic event. So very, very excited. StockCharts members get a special price. So if you're currently a member, don't forget, you can go sign up, get that special price. If you're not currently a member, again, sign up for a free trial. You can actually get that membership pricing as long as you sign up for a free trial. So you can take advantage of some of these features that we're talking about on the show today, those multi-chart layout capabilities, multiple price data sets per chart there in SharpCharts as well. And you'll get a great price for ChartCon 2022. Very, very exciting stuff that you can take with you forever. Timeless content, help you become a better investor, better chartist from some of the best experts out there. Very, very cool stuff. So I will see you next week for another edition of Stock Charts in Focus. We'll be back again next Friday. But until then, chart on, my friends.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.